Hello everyone, my name is Matt Cianciarulo, and I'm the owner and managing partner here at U-Nique Accounting. If this is your first time watching our content, thank you for finding and listening to us. If you've watched our content before, thank you for continuing to tune into our channel. As always, you can learn more about us at U-Nique Accounting. Start over. As always, you can learn more about us by visiting us at our website, u-niqueaccounting.com. And while you're there, I recommend you check out our blog and also download some of our free content. If you're wondering what I'm drinking today, today's beverage choice is lemon ginger kombucha. If you notice my cup, it's bearing the hashtag Make Today Count. This is the slogan for my Best Friends Foundation. It's a close and personal not-for-profit that I'm a board member of. A link will be provided for a form for you to fill out if you or anyone you know is dealing with the impact of cancer in their life. So now with that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into today's topic. Today's topic is part number 4 in our 5-part series, Xero versus QuickBooks Online, why after 15 years we made the switch to Xero. Reason number 4 on our list is that Xero is designed for business owners. The general structure and navigation of most softwares is designed from an accounting point of view. An example of this is bank reconciliations. In QuickBooks Online, this is in the accounting section, as technically bank reconciliations are an accounting function. And to the QBO developers, this makes sense. However, business owners do not think like accountants. They just simply want to reconcile their bank account, which is why Xero puts this feature in the bank account section. Why would you leave your banking area when you want to do a bank reconciliation? The answer is that you wouldn't. And this is just one example of how Xero tries to organize and keep things simple for the average business owner. So now let's talk about the navigation of categories, specifically in Xero. So Xero just has 3 simple categories, and they're all located at the top of the screen. It's business, accounting, and contacts. Business is where you go to find all your customer and supplier activities, like bills and invoices. Accounting is where you go for all your reporting, and contacts is where you look up all your customers and suppliers. And each category has their own list, which is an easy to navigate top-down list format. Now, the navigation of categories in QBO, they have a much larger and complicated navigation pane that's located on the left-hand side. And this pane has about 10 categories, each with their own lists. And in our opinion, the lists are harder to navigate as you have to work in a left to right navigation format. And you have to be careful here because as you move your cursor from left to right, if your cursor goes too far up or down, the list will disappear and then you have to start all over. Again, it's a complicated list followed by a complicated way of navigating. That's QBO. So let's talk about the organization and structure of contacts. So while the previous points are kind of minor, this is a bigger one. Before using Xero, we had been brainwashed to separate customers and vendors into different modules, as every software we'd ever worked with had done this. So Xero does something quite unique. They combine customers and vendors into the same module and just call them all contacts. It's weird, it's different, and it definitely took some time to get used to it and understand the beauty in this concept. So let's talk about the concept of duplicate names, specifically with Xero. For good reason, both Xero and QuickBooks Online restrict you from having duplicate names. In Xero, this concept works just fine as you don't have vendor names, customer names, you just have contact names. So in Xero, a contact can act both as a vendor and a customer, and it's the nature of the transaction that will determine this. This allows you to have just one name that can be used for both bills and payments, as well as invoices and receipts. So let's talk about duplicate names in QuickBooks Online. So in QBO, like many other softwares, they separate vendors and customers into 2 distinct lists and modules. So if you have a contact that acts as both a customer and a supplier, you have to create the name twice, once in each module. But remember, you can't have a duplicate name, so you have to spell the name slightly different in each module. And guess what? This leads to errors. So is that really a big deal? Well, yes it is. So the name that gets picked impacts how the transaction will get organized and reported. In QuickBooks Online, if you want to create a customer invoice, you are restricted to only customer names. When you want to create a vendor bill, you are also only restricted to vendor names. Matt, where's the catch? When you want to create payment or expense, there are no name restrictions. So it's at this point that if you choose the wrong name and code an expense payment to a customer name, that this will create reporting issues. So if you want to run any any vendor reports, those incorrectly coded payments will not show up as they've been categorized to a customer name, not a vendor name. And remember, this happens quite a lot because with the whole duplicate name concept, you're not going to just rename the customer name in a totally different way to make it obvious. Every client we've ever worked with changes it by one letter or adds 2 periods. So the name looks exactly the same, and people who are recording the transaction can't remember which one's the customer or vendor. They just choose the name and move on. And so when you're running reporting, again, I've had clients say like,
oh, I know I spent so much on marketing or so much in this category, but when I run a report, the totals don't match up.
That's because they've coded some of the costs to vendors and some of the costs to a customer. So to wrap up, these are just a few examples of how unfriendly QuickBooks Online can be for business owners. Much of the functionality is just not designed with the typical small business owner in mind. So thanks for listening to reason number 4, why we prefer Xero over QuickBooks Online, and stay tuned for reason number 5. If you appreciated our advice, please remember to like our video and subscribe to our channel for future videos. Until then, remember, don't conform, stay unique.